What's happening, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Dan Stephen here with a new video. And this video is something different, Stephen. We're going to be trying to review each episode of the Mandalorian season 2.
We talked about season 1. We never actually reviewed it as such. We talked about it on the podcast. Super massive Star Wars fans. What did you make of the first episode?
First episode was called The Marshal. I was really looking forward to this TV show. Kind of want something to look forward to. It basically just picked off exactly where the first season ended, and we're following obviously Mando and the child. He's trying to get the child back to his home planet. But what's so special about this episode is the T-shirt. It brought it back to Tatooine. It brought in the Marshal, played by Timothy Oliphant.
Yeah,
who I'm a massive fan of because I'm a big fan of Justified, and he basically played the same character in Justified. He played like a US Marshal in like this town in Kentucky, so it's great. But good thing about his character, he's wearing Boba Fett's outfit. So again, when we first saw that, all I kept thinking was Boba Fett. There has to be Boba Fett now. I mean, he looks a bit pathetic looking, this costume.
I thought he looked way too skinny to be Boba Fett. I was like, that's not him.
Whenever we heard there's a Mandalorian TV show about a bounty hunter on Disney Plus, all we kept thinking about and talking about was when's Boba Fett, or is Boba Fett going to be in this year? But the whole TV show, the whole episode, was great. I loved it. It expands the Star Wars universe a bit more, and it kind of does what it done the first season. It brings life to these other characters which you kind of knew about in the Star Wars universe. The first season, they kind of talked about or kind of showed you the Jawas. I said that really weird. The Jawas. And this episode, it showed you like the Sand people, who were always told they're savages not to, and they're subhuman. But in this, it kind of shows them to be a bit more human-like. Like they're a family, they're a village and all too, and they're trying to basically just get by like any other humans or any other species and all too.
They mentioned in the episode that the people drove them out, you know what I mean? So they're like that because of people as well.
Yeah, it just expands the Star Wars universe even more so with this TV show. What I love about The Mandalorian, especially, and I think it's continued all this season, it's almost like a standalone TV show, but obviously it leans on the originals and the prequels and the sequels a wee bit. Well, they're not really the sequels, but more like the originals and the prequels. But it doesn't lean too heavy on them, if you get me. It kind of references them now and again.
So yeah, I agree. So for me, like, I'm not the guy to review this because I can be really critical of Star Wars, obviously, because there's probably more shit Star Wars than there is good Star Wars these days. What I thought this TV show would be when they announced it isn't the show that it actually is, if you know what I mean. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know what I was expecting, but I was expecting probably longer episodes for one. Like you were expecting a bit longer episodes, a bit more detail, but now I've just accepted like this is just short, snappy stories. It's just a Western. We've got a main character that they've developed so well, and it's just what he's doing. Like, because if you were reviewing this as a movie, right, and the movie was just this Mandalorian who was going to these random parts of the galaxy, and he was just meeting these villagers, and you never knew anyone, and you just met them, and then this is the new character, and then they hate each other, and then they come together. And then they basically fight off another enemy. Like, that's what every episode seems to be.
Yeah.
But I'm loving it. Like, I am loving just getting up in the morning. Like, I'm having the routine of watching it on a Saturday morning. It comes out on a Friday, obviously, for us. Get up nice and early, get my coffee on, sticking it on, and it's just 40 minutes of Star Wars. And it doesn't have to be a complete story. Like, I'm trying not to overanalyze it because I'm just watching. Like, it looks so good. Like, the features, it just looks like Star Wars. Just 40 minutes of being in that universe, and I think they're doing an amazing job of it. Like, I don't know how to critique it.
Yeah, it's kind of hard because we're Star Wars fans, and especially what we. I know you weren't a big fan of the sequels, like especially the Rise of Skywalker came out last year.
Yeah.
So when this was announced, especially after Rise of Skywalker, this actually came out before Rise of Skywalker, sorry. But like around that time of Last Jedi, then Rise of Skywalker, you're almost expecting this TV show to be in the same vein as that there. Him maybe going to these big planets, everything CGI and all too, kind of a bit cheesy and all, but it's not. It's nothing like that. It's more aligned with the originals than it actually is anything else. And I think that's my biggest positive about this TV show. My biggest worry was not having the feel of a Star Wars movie, but it does. It feels like you're back in, like, when you go at the Tatooine, you're like, fucking Luke Skywalker was just here. And and that's why it's so good. I think as well that it's not relying on the originals to carry this here. The storyline and the characters carry themselves, and that's what's so good. And every episode you are waiting for a wee Easter egg, a wee character to get through in there. Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't happen and you're happy enough, but then sometimes it does. And that's why this episode was so good, Tim. The way this episode ends, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it, but
the whole episode, this whole review spoilers.
Yeah. But obviously the very last scene when he's driving off after he killed like the sand dragon, it's Boba Fett standing. Well, is it Boba Fett? It's not confirmed.
It is, it is. So it is for me, because I think if you look at what actually happened in the last scene, the way, not even the last scene, sort of towards the end, the way the Mandalorian got out of the dragon, like, I think that's clearly mirroring how Boba Fett got out of the Sarlacc pit.
Exactly.
Like, obviously he used the booster, so it's like they set that up to be like, because you knew he wasn't going to die, the Mandalorian, but you're like, where the fuck is he? And then he flies out, and then next thing you know, you see Boba Fett, and you're like, well, are they telling me that's how Boba Fett escaped?
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, like, I'm not excited to see, like, I've never been a Boba Fett guy. The way Boba Fett supposedly died in the movies is absolutely pathetic. And then now he's like a cult hero, which I kind of get it because he sounds cool and he's a bounty hunter. But to me, the Mandalorian is 200 times cooler than Boba Fett's ever been.
Boba Fett had, like, was it 5 minutes of screen time? He developed this farm. And
I've never got it. I've never ever really understood. I mean, I don't blame people for fucking loving a Star Wars character, but I've just never been on, oh my god, it's Boba Fett. So even when we were feeling, see if Boba Fett was never in this, I wouldn't care. But I know for some people, they need to get that, which is fair enough.
I wanted it, but I was so happy the way the first season went that I almost just want to. I'm happy enough whatever direction they go in because I have faith in them. Yeah. But what were you saying there? So the first, obviously, the Mandalorian obviously kind of looks like Boba Fett as well. So a lot of people, once this TV show came out, they're expecting Boba Fett, and they hinted at it for the first season. But so this obviously the first episode, you see the Marshal dresses in Boba Fett's armor. He's not a Mandarin. He says he basically bought it or got it off the Jawas.
Love that whole scene, by the way.
I said it again. Jawas. They basically found it, or they got it somewhere, and then basically they're trying to kill the sand dragon, who is like located inside an empty Sarlacc pit. So like they're constantly just like pointing towards Boba Fett, and again the way Mando killed the sand dragon, which would probably mirror how Boba Fett got out of the Sarlacc pit. So throughout it, you're like kind of waiting, like, why are they doing? I kept thinking, there's so much Boba Fett references here, but I thought it was going to be one of them things like we're going to reference him, but we're not going to shoot him. He's not going to be in it. And again, I was happy enough, but then when it showed you the character standing off watching Mando, I'm like, what the fuck is going to happen here? I'm like, yes.
My only sort of lingering question with it is, why doesn't he have his armor? Has he just been kind of floating about there for, I don't know how, I can't remember the exact time frame as to when he would have fell into now. Obviously his armor wasn't that far away. Like, it's on the same place. Maybe he just couldn't find it. But I'm like, is he just hanging out? You know, that's kinda, and obviously there's loads of clones and shit, and people are debating it's him.
It can't be a clone because if you remember, if you remember Attack of the Clones, whenever Django's explaining, or like they're explaining the clone army, they age double time. So 10 years old, they'll be 20 years old. In 20 years, they'll be 40. 40, they'll be 80. But when Django was asked to be obviously the sperm donor basically for these clone armies, he wanted.
I try not to remember that movie at all. Like, fuck
he wanted to be. He obviously wanted a kid who didn't age. He's the only clone that basically could survive that long. It is Boba Fett.
Yeah, he's listed on IMDb as Boba Fett, so it has to be.
Oh, is it? There you go then.
Yeah.
To be fair, when I first saw him, I didn't know who it was.
Did you not? No, I did.
And he started wearing my glasses a bit more. I just saw a bald guy. I was like, oh, because he has hair, and like the clones all have hair.
He's still the same person with or without hair, mate.
So hey, before we go, do you want to rank this out of 10? Give it a mark out of 10.
I don't know, man. I'd probably give it a 9.
9? What?
Yeah, maybe not. I'll maybe go 8.5.
I was gonna go for like a 7. I'll go for an 8 then. There you go. Like, because I don't want to.
It's meaningless anyway. So.
That's our episode 1, season 2 review of The Mandalorian. Cheers.
Hi everyone, thanks for watching the video. Please like, comment and subscribe. Just to let you know, we've got similar content available on the channel if you want to check it out.
We also do our own podcast called MCPodcasting, where we cover a range of topics from politics, sports, and even movies.
We basically just talk a lot of shit.
We argue a lot as well on it there, but all the links are below. We're on all major platforms, Spotify, iTunes, and is there any other?
That's the main ones, yeah.
Yeah, it's the main ones.
Just check out the podcast, and if there's any sort of videos you want us to react to, drop us a comment on the YouTube videos, and we'll be sure to check it out.
Or if you want to make fun of us, then go ahead. We don't care.
Be nice.
Be nice.
In fairness, we don't really get that many comments.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Stop looking at me.
Okay.